The word constitution is more of a scientific word than it is legal. The word constitution comes from the word constitute. To constitute means to bring different elements together cohesively to form one whole entity. So the constitution of water is hydrogen and oxygen, but not necessarily hydrogen or oxygen in any proportion. In order for you to arrive at an element and regard it as water, then you need to be specific and have two hydrogen atoms for every one oxygen atom. So that is the mindset that I wanted us to approach this Constitutional Thursday. That what are those important elements that come together for there to be called Kenya? Is it important for you to identify what those elements are as an individual, as someone at the marketplace, as someone who regards identity, and your identity originates from this entity we regard as Kenya? What are those different elements that constitute Kenya? What are the constituent elements of Kenya? But even before we touch on that, allow me just to mention two important words in passing. It's very important for us to distinguish what is a constitutional right from a constitutional freedom. Majority of us, we use these phrases interchangeably as though they are one and the same. A constitutional right is an acknowledgement of an inalienable status that an individual has. That inalienable status means that the state did not participate in you getting it. A typical example is the right to life. The right to life originates from your maker. So when the state did not give you that right, the state should not take that right. So a right is a status that is inalienable, that the Constitution recognizes. Now, constitutional freedoms are privileges that the Constitution creates for its sovereign people. So when the Constitution regards you as sovereign, the Constitution extends to you certain privileges. Those privileges are called freedoms. So a freedom can be taken by the Constitution because the Constitution has given you that. Freedom to move around, that freedom can be curtailed by the Constitution. So let's go back to the constituent elements of this entity we regard as Kenya. The first one, a country. I dare you to go through the Constitution, and I can tell you for free, you will not come across that word country. So the word country of Kenya, that word is not constitutional. That word bears little constitutional significance. So the word country merely is a branding in the international community. So the branding of the country Kenya, when you're looking at the code element of it, is +254. So that is what country is. So a country is just that international branding feature that a country has in the community of nations. So that is what it's called, a country. A country has no legal, no constitutional significance, and it's just at that, a brand. So a country is a brand, whether it's Uganda, whether it's Tanzania, whatever country you look at, the name of that country, as long as we regard it as country, has very little legal consequence. The other one is state. Now that we have understood what it means as the country of Kenya, what then does it mean to the state of Kenya? It's very important for us to understand that the state is the recognition of a common people in the international community. That recognition that you get, and one of those dreaded phrases that is attached to a phrase to the state is what it's called pariah state. A pariah state is a state that has failed, that lacks credence in the international community. So it's very important that whenever you're looking at state, I want you to understand that a state is a common people in a specific geographical location that they have an international recognition. So a state must have a geographical location. A state must also have military. And that is why the president is the head of government and the head of state. So when the president appears for his international assignments, the president is representing the state of Kenya. And in actual fact, the president becomes the embodiment of the state of Kenya. So it's important. Whenever you're looking at the word state, it is important for you to understand to what level are we talking about. There is also, when we are talking of state, when you're looking at portfolio, when you're looking at representation at executive level, there are certain ministerial dockets that are Ministry of State, and there are others that are Ministry of Government. I don't know if you know the difference between state in that and government. I would really want to hear your comment in the comment section. What do you think is the difference between such and such being the cabinet minister of state and the cabinet minister of government? It's very important. Now, the other one is what we call republic. And this is very interesting. Republic is provided for in Article 4 of the 2010 Constitution of the People's Republic of Kenya. And it says Kenya, under Article 4, the title is Declaration of the Republic. And Article 1 says, Article 4:1 says, Kenya is a sovereign republic. So what does it mean to be a republic? A republic is a territorial integrity of a common people. That integrity that you occupy, that respect that you command in the international community, that is what qualifies you to be referred to as a republic. So you cannot be a republic without having territorial integrity. 9 out of 10 instances, our territorial integrity is according to our military superiority and also economic stability. And that is why whenever you look at the Republic of Kenya, it is always tied to commerce. I don't know if you knew that. The republic of any country is usually tied to the commerce. How the state facilitate commerce in that jurisdiction. That is very important, that in order for you to understand what it means by the Republic of Kenya, it's important to understand what are those determinants upon which we peg our territorial integrity. So it is the supremacy of your military, and secondly, your economic stability. And that is why the republic is always tied to currency. There's a reason why it's called the Central Bank of the Republic of Kenya. Central banks only have one mandate. The only mandate for central bank is to manage and to monitor by regulating the strength of a people's currency. So currency is connected to the republic. That is something that I need us to understand. In as much as the Constitution says that in the Republic of Kenya, there will be multi-parties. That is not actually the real essence for a republic. The real essence for a republic is the respect that a common people command in the community of nations. In Kenya, in the East African region, there is the respect the Republic of Kenya commands amongst our peers. So that is very, very important. The other one is government. At what point is Kenya a government? At what point is Kenya a republic? At what point is Kenya a something else? So when we are talking of government, government simply means administrative elements, instruments or machineries that run civic affairs of a people. That is all government is. In our Kenyan instance, Kenya operates two levels of government. There is government at national level, then there is government at county level. That we need to understand that the territory of Kenya in Article 6, the territory of Kenya is divided into counties specified in the first schedule. The government at the national level, that is Article 6(2), the government at the national and county levels, and distinct and interdependent. So in Kenya, we have two layers of government. So a government is just how a people manage civic affairs. That is what government is. As at now, government is the administrative function of Ruto. So Ruto, it's called Ruto's government. So Ruto's government, in as much as they might appear to have policy, but when you're talking of Ruto's government, you're looking at the administrative functions of government. That is all that government is. Government is not, it's just administrative function in determining civic affairs. The other one is territory. I want us to understand that these are constituent elements that are constitutional that help us appreciate Kenya. At what point are you talking about Kenya? When someone mentions the name Kenya, at what level of understanding do they mention that name? So what is Kenya's territory? Kenya's territory, and it's very important that we look at Article 5. Article 5 says, Kenya consists of the territory and territorial waters comprising Kenya on the effective date. That is 2010, the month of August. So it's important when we talk of territory, this is the landmark, the landmass that Kenya stakes claim on. And this one is usually represented with even where we hoist our flags. So whenever you see the Kenyan flag, whether it's in the country or outside the country, whenever you see us hoist our flag, that is, we are staking a claim on that. And that becomes part of Kenya's territorial landmass. So anywhere there is Kenya's consulate, anywhere there is Kenya's embassies across the world, those places become Kenya even in that other place. There is Kenya in the US, there is Kenya in Uganda, any other place where you will find the Kenyan flag. Now it is the nation. What is a nation? These are the things that we share collectively. These are the things that make us identify as one people, the nation of Kenya. So whenever someone mentions that phrase, the nation of Kenya, that person is merely implying to the things that we have in common. And these are the things that we have in common according to Article 9. Let me just mention them. The president. So the president is a symbol of national unity. So the president brings us together as a nation. So whenever we are talking as the nation of Kenya, then we are looking at what individual element do we find convergence. That individual element is the presidency, the national anthem, the flag, the coat of arms, and the public seal. So these are the different elements that bring up that element of the nation of Kenya. So it's very important whenever you're having conversations alongside that phrase Kenya, it's important to ask yourself, what are those constituent elements that bring up this one indivisible entity that we regard as Kenya? When you're talking of Kenya as a nation, you need to understand what is the constituent element of the nation of Kenya. What are the constituent element of the territory of Kenya? My name is Ogwang, and I want to thank you for having spent time with me this far, because every Thursday we have these things that we talk about called Constitution Thursday. We want us to fall in love with the Kenyan Constitution, and we want to understand those things that are beyond the glare, those things that are beyond the attention, the interest of the ordinary Kenyan. My name is Ogwang. I am the principal at Franchise and Licensing Institute. If you found this video valuable, kindly consider rewarding me with a like, a share, and let's interact in the comment section. My name is Ogwang, and don't forget the question. The question was, do you know what it means when a minister is a minister of state and when the minister is the minister of government? I will see you next week on Thursday on another Constitution Thursday, God willing. Until then, take care. God bless and bye-bye.